I'm your host, Chelsea Wall, and our special guest today is Jamie from Seriously. I screwed that up. I feel like I screwed it up when I was trying to introduce you at the end. It is, I know, and I kept trying to come up with puns so I could make it fun and introduce you. But yeah, and so Jamie runs a successful home-based business here in Lethbridge, and you're passionate about helping others build a successful home-based business as well. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm going to just tell everybody a little bit about how we first met because although I feel like we've been soul sisters forever,
absolutely.
we've actually only known each other for a really short period. It feels like a really long time, but I feel like it's 6 weeks.
Yes, but the connection is real.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
So it's so funny how it all happened because I think we crossed paths at an event, but we didn't actually talk to each other. We just I think got a good vibe and kind of crossed, and then all of a sudden I seen you liking my stuff, and I'm like, I don't know who this girl is, but she's loving on me, right? And you were sharing my stuff, and I was just thinking wow, for somebody who's never actually met me to be so in tune to what I'm doing.
Inspired with what you do for your business. So I'm like, you're my type of people.
Yeah,
because I'm sometimes in organized chaos. So I'm just like, ooh, yes, she knows her things that can help.
It's just so funny because we hadn't ever even communicated, and you just knew that we were gonna jive, and so we connected, and then we connected, but again hadn't met, and then we were at the hall at school, and we're passing each other. We're at Meet the Teacher night. I didn't even know our kids went to the same school, and we passed each other, and it was actually at first our husbands connected, and they knew each other.
Yeah, because they're both Parksmen, so they knew each other. So,
and then we're just like, what is going on? I know, it's just amazing.
Small world.
You know how those things are supposed to align at some point and stuff like that. So I personally was searching for a mentor, and you just fell in this role. I didn't even ask you, actually. You just I just keep calling you my mentor, and she's my mentor. She just doesn't know it. It's the same. Yeah, right? So I'm you've just been everything about you is just so inspiring, and you're just so knowledgeable and so passionate, and everything you've done has been self-taught, and that's what I just love so much about you, is that you just figure things out and learn it. So tell us how this all started for you and what it's been like running Seriously and growing this big empire. This
my small little empire.
Oh, I think she's so modest. I think it's huge. So tell everybody about it.
So I have been behind the chair actually doing hair for 13 years, but for 6 years being an independent hairstylist, own my own business called Seriously. I seriously work in my basement. And you know what, taking this journey, I wanted the best of both worlds. I am a mom first, and I have so much passion doing my career, and you know what, I wanted to break the stigma of working from home, because as of being a hairstylist, working from home, people think it cheapens the industry, it's unprofessional, and I have so much passion for this, 13 years and going strong, so it's good. And diving into home, it was challenging, but I was so willing to take that challenge and conquer the risk factors that come along. And you know what, through the journey of it, I grew so much and I flourished so much as a person and as a hairstylist as well. And for me, it's so much more than just hair. It's making women feel like they belong, right? Giving them a voice, and it's just been such a fun hair journey for myself.
That's amazing. So tell us how this came to be. So how did you start? How did you know where to look? How did you know to get clients and build a space in your basement that was inviting, right?
Yes.
You don't just open something up and be like, hey, come. How did you work that in?
There actually wasn't a lot of insight on the internet or resources, because there is that stigma about being a home-based business, because people kind of assume it's a kitchen salon. And what I thought of my values and what my purpose was, that I still wanted to be professional by getting a license, a business license, and also getting insurance and everything for my business. But I just did a lot of research on business, because you know what, behind the scenes of business is not the most glamorous part of being in my job. And I was just willing, so willing to figure it out, how to do taxes, because that's not fun, guys. But I grew to love it, because it's kind of chasing how I could be profitable.
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 Is that a word? Profitable.
It if you know me,
Profitable? There we go.
I like to make my own lingo.
That was seriously awesome.
But yeah, so it was just creating more creativity of the behind the scene business part. So, and I grew, more passion for that as well, and to
So
help other
no
people.
business background at all?
No,
You
nothing
never
at
came
all.
from an entrepreneurial family?
No.
You never ran a past business or nothing like that? So you quite literally came from an industry where you were an employee to running your own business?
Yes, and I actually wish, in the start of my hair journey, being in school, that they actually taught us more about business.
Yeah.
Because really, as a hairstylist in a salon suite, you are a business owner. You're independent already. So knowing, where your money is going, how to make more money, and how to attract guests, and the whole marketing, it has changed so much just in the 13 short years that I've been doing hair, but the whole online marketing has boomed.
Yeah.
The industry is changing so much as well, both in innovation of products and also how hairstylists are wanting to conduct themselves. So it's pretty cool to see how it is changed and being more empowering to other hairstylists and women and men and everything. It's pretty cool.
It's so interesting too because a lot of what I do at A-List Assist is business development and working with small businesses to navigate some of these challenges that you talk about. And I just find it so fascinating with you that you not only jumped into a business, but you found out very early that there was a lack in the industry for this. And so you're paving the way, or you're essentially building these tools and these resources to help other people that were in your place that maybe aren't able to figure it out like you did, right? And
Yes.
and that's hard for a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of people that come from a space where they're really good at their trade, but they're not so good at the business end of it, right?
Right.
So,
Outsourcing is super great as well, right? Because the business part of it, we can get burnt out from it as well. So where she comes into play, where she can, help you out, and but yeah, the business is challenging, right? There's lots of ups, there's lots of downs, there's risks, but it's trying to find solutions for it and facing those challenges, right? Because it's only going to be worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
Because if you take a blind eye from it, or just fake it till you make it, it's not going to end up good results. And for us hairstylists, it's a very high percentage of us not continuing our jobs anymore because of the burnout phase. Because, a lot of us hairdressers, we are people pleasers, and I'm in recovery, and always will be, but it takes a lot out of you, not only, physically, a lot of repetitive, blow drying, carpal tunnel is really big, backaches, but also it's our mindset. Because it's burning out so much because we are helping other people. And this is one thing I learned about being as an independent stylist and having one-on-one sessions with my guests is it's more open and honest and real conversations. So people are telling their stories. So that saying before when I first started being a therapist, it's a true fact, right? Because people are spilling, their hearts out to you, the good, the bad, and for our own selves, because I'm an empathist, so I take on everything.
I hear you. We talked about this, yes. That is a struggle.
It absolutely is, but it's learning how to, still be there from them, but also too is how you can recover after.
Yeah, to debrief, which is funny because you would never have to think that you have to debrief from a session with your client at all, right? But I can totally relate to that because sometimes when you're meeting with your clients and you feel what they're feeling and then you carry that energy with you afterwards, and it's a tough thing to. And I want to touch a little bit about this burnout here. So did you have burnout at one point? Can you tell us what led up to this and so that other people?
Absolutely. So starting out from home, a really amazing opportunity happened, and I was headhunted and was able to be an educator for a brand, and I was in it to win it, and I burnt out. Being an entrepreneur, it's very lonely, right? So not knowing where my resources and stuff were, that I just kept a lot of stuff in, and I burnt out because I was doing a lot online, and I put my business first instead of my family, and then I realized like it was a lot.
Was there guilt there?
Oh, mom guilt.
Yeah,
Mom
yeah.
guilt
Did
is
you?
real.
Yeah, okay.
And even though that I
That's
work
interesting.
from home, there's still mom guilt
Yeah.
because sometimes, like, I work in the evenings. I will miss out on my son's, sporting events because, a lot of women work these days, and their time to do hair could be the evenings. And what I found, what I loved also too about working from home, because like with our city bylaw that I'm only allowed to take one guest at a time. So that is really nice and really helped with, that burnout stage. Because like, back-to-back guests, right? Like,
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that, and that's something that you've really systemized in your business is you've given yourself enough time to make sure there's questions if your clients have questions.
Yeah.
And then you also talked a little bit about giving yourself some time to do that debrief.
Yes.
So where you can just now take some time for you, be
Yeah.
at your best for your next client. And
Yes.
so
I find my quality
Right.
of work has actually skyrocketed from working from home because I have one-on-one time with my guests, because I'm not rushing. I'm not on that salon time, right? Because, a big thing is communication with having your guests. It's a big thing. Communication is key. So what I found for my business is I actually do a separate consultation for new guests. So that helps to give, a guest, it's kind of like an interview in that way.
Yeah.
So they can kind of see what a home salon is like, what I'm like. Because have you ever been to a stylist where you didn't jive with?
Oh yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
you know what? It's that opportunity to, see if you guys are on the same page.
Yeah.
And also, our hairstylist lingo, I understand that you guys don't understand our lingo, but taking that time, to answer your questions and letting you be heard what your hair desires are. And actually, it is super cool, like, to give more insight. Because when I worked in a salon, you had hardly no time to give an actual consultation. It was very rushed because the next guest is there. Right? So.
And that's pressure, especially when you're an empath. That's pressure on you to be like, it diverts your attention. It makes you
Yes.
feel like you're so focused on what's happening next that you can't be in that moment. And I want to mention here too, we had a conversation, it was in my head now, it might be thrown away here, but we had a conversation around something and it's disappeared. So I'm going to quickly reintroduce the show while I'm here since I completely lied. It'll come back to me. So we're live here on Jess FM with The Question Is Why. I'm your host, Chelsea Wall. This is our special guest, Jamie from Seriously. And if you're catching us here on Jess FM, you can also download the apps if you want to listen to us live, or if you want to catch the replays on Facebook and YouTube. So for those that are just joining us now, we're going to jump back in here with Jamie. And I had this amazing thing I just needed to talk about, and it totally just went, oh, here it is. I got it. This is awesome. So we were talking a little bit about that too, is how when we're not educated on hair, we go to Pinterest or the internet and we print off a picture and we take it to the stylist and say, we want this hair. And what I was finding for myself personally is they wouldn't ask questions. They would just do that style. And then I'm like, this looks nothing like the picture. And we talked a little bit about different types of hair, how your hair holds style. So to have
it's
that education piece first is key.
It's so much more than a Pinterest photo and a 5-minute chit chat.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of times, like, I've experienced this where a guest, will give me a picture and it's a picture that has like millions of likes, right? Because they think that if they have that million liked photo and have that hair, they're going to be liked.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Right? So it's
psychology around it.
Absolutely. But also too, every hair is different, it's composed different, and the lightener life, right? So lightener doesn't actually know, like lightener, bleach, if people don't know, doesn't know actually what it's going on to. It doesn't know the race of the hair. It doesn't know the integrity, what medication's through, because medication goes throughout our hair. And we're in Canada now where, marijuana is now legalized. Marijuana actually lasts up in the hair for 90 days after consumption. So does it have reactions with lightener uses?
Yeah.
So those are things that like the whole technical like chemistry of hair, like it intrigues me. So I need to know and ask these questions when I'm doing these consultations, because expectations get lost.
Yeah.
And that's when I worked in the salon, when, you know, guests come back because they didn't like their hair, is because that connection was gone. That expectation, what they had, because they had a picture and they said, oh yeah, I can just go do it. But hair, there's so many risks in hair. It's quite wild.
Yeah,
so I like to try to get the bottom of it.
That I think is just so important, because we don't know that as consumers.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know going in that we have to ask these questions. We trust you as the expert.
I find that is kind of us as a hairstylist. Before it was our fault, because that's how we portrayed hair.
Yeah.
That we are the experts, we know, we will just do it, right? But now it's like being very transparent with our guests, because honesty is the best policy, and being clear of what hair actually can do. So then for myself, I'm a longevity hairstylist, because not a lot of people, you know, can get in at, you know, 4 or 5 weeks every time.
Yeah.
So I love working off natural bases and having hair glow. And also the artist in me, I do like fun fashion colors hair, as I have yellow hair. Yeah, so it's a very cool, and I love hearing people's stories, and you know what, and I have you know, developed where I can see like red flags, if I can see if my guest is not really understanding, and the way to ask questions so I can get to the bottom of it, so then we can feel on the same page, and give a lot of analogies and stuff as well, because it paints more of a clear picture.
Yep. I think that's why I love mentoring you so much, is because you know the value of the actual connection with the client, not just the service. So for me, I look at you and I think like it's amazing that you're willing to spend this time. I mean, because the more people you can get through your chair, the more money you make, right? And that's the thing. But you just have more of a passion here for this education component.
Yeah.
And like you talk about longevity, that just goes with your clients as well, because the service that you're providing them builds this trust component, where they can trust that the next visit and the next visit, they don't even have to talk about it anymore. You just know what to do.
And then with that hair journey that we're on, then we can collaborate, because they understand a little bit more of what hair is. So when they're looking at those Pinterest photos, they're like, okay, I know these steps actually, how to get there, what to do, what my hair can handle, and like it's pretty cool to be on that journey with them when they understand, you know, my lingo and I understand their lingo, and it
almost builds a personal brand for you too. Like, this is almost like just this authenticity is your brand. Like, so I want to talk a little bit about the personal development, because you said it just a little bit back there, and you talk about a personal journey through this as well, because you're growing so much and challenging yourself and learning so much. Another reason why I mentor you, because I just have been so empowered by just seeing somebody that had zero education and is where you are. So tell us about this personal, how you personally deal with the mom guilt, and how you personally deal with, you know, the haters, or you personally deal with the challenges or the triumphs even. I mean, even when we do amazing things, and it gets scary even when we succeed, right?
It truly does get scary when we succeed, because like, what's next? Right? How am I going to top that achievement?
Exactly. How do I keep
And sometimes
going?
that internal pressure will get to me. What's next? Because I'll set out, like, I like to say I'm a goal digger, and so if I accomplish something and I achieve it, sometimes I don't give myself time to relish in that accomplishment, that I'm on to the next, what can I do next? And it's really, really fast paced. So that's why I have yellow hair. I've been doing it for this year, to remind myself to slow down.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
But for challenges and stuff, I'm a very optimistic person. So I will think of the negative, but I will find that solution for the situation. And you know what? I'm such, like, I love quotes. And
do you have a mantra then?
Oh, I've got lots.
Okay.
I like to change it actually on my phone. So when you turn on my phone, I have like a quote that's there. So I like to change that monthly quotes and stuff. So I'm always like to, you know, look into there, just something that aligns with how I feel at that moment. Sometimes I like to change them up. But, you know, challenges are hard. right? But I just know in the long run, if I face it, you know, something good will come out of it. And we live in such a fast-paced world and a convenient world. Sometimes we want those challenges to be done now.
Yeah, we expect, we're used to instant. We're
Instant.
used to, you know, an instant text when we text somebody, or, you know, now we can instantly watch whatever show we want. And it was funny because I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and I'm like, do you remember the days when if we wanted to phone a friend for a play date, we'd pick up the phone, and nobody would be home, so we'd leave a message. And then 2 or 3 hours later, they'd phone back, but we weren't home. So then they'd leave a message.
Phone tag.
And sometimes phone tag, yeah. And sometimes it was like 2 days before you finally could arrange something. Now it's like, if I phone you and you don't phone me back, guess what? I'm moving on. I'm finding somebody else to have a play date with, or I'm finding somebody else to go with drinks with, right? Like, that the days of us being patient are gone, right? And so when we hit these challenges, I'm the worst person for this. When we have these challenges, it's like, I want instant results. I want the answer right now, and I want this solved, and I want to move on, but I don't learn anything because I'm just like, I don't have time to sit in the challenge. I just want to move on, and it's necessarily a good thing sometimes, right? So,
right, but it's how you work through it, right? Because everyone is going to have a negative thought first, right? But it's how you react to that negative thought, and how you're going to solve it is going to help you better in the long run. Right.
So when you do your teaching, when you do your education piece for home salons, do you teach personal development in there as well, or?
Not yet. So this is just in the works. So just last month, I released my very first freebie of a home salon business guidebook to help, you know, to ask those right questions, those burning questions, to help ignite you if you're wanting to pursue a home-based business, because home-based businesses are growing, and it's really cool. Like, they're not only just for a home-based business, but for salons. Like, the stigma part is no more. Like, it's really cool to see that. And so I wanted to provide, you know, a guide to help other people to see if that journey works for them, right? Because there's a lot of things that I didn't know when I first stepped into here, like about boundaries.
Yeah, and see, I feel like that's a personal development thing too, right? Like the two intertwine. Like, in order to be able to have a backbone in business, you have to be able to.
That was after my first year. That was my New Year's resolution, was learning boundaries and balance.
So tell us a little bit about the boundaries, what that means, because I'm not super clear on what you mean with boundaries, as well as boundaries with your clients or yourself or your family or what. So
both as like for like business and stuff, and boundaries is, you know what, like for instance, is a guest when they are wanting to get in with me or ask questions about their hair, and that instant text message, right? But they're message you at midnight or 11 o'clock, right, for these questions, and that takes so much time to do it online, or to do it, you know, through thumb texting, right? So it's just saying no, and saying no is the most hardest thing to do, but it's just going to help you grow, right? Saying no to things that, because I'm a people pleaser. Right? So,
and you established this really early on in business then. You realized very early on that you had to have these boundaries with your clients.
And working after hours, right? Like, not having those consistent 2 days off, right? Working late hours, working over hours. So it's just creating that balance that worked best for me. Like, there is no true, you know, equal balance. Sometimes my balance could be like opposite up and down, right? But you know what? I just always just try to stay on a path that works best for myself and for my family, and something that works best for my guests as well. So just, you know, setting those good hours when they can come in. What other things?
Yeah, what else is in your guide? Are you allowed to share some
of
this?
Absolutely. No, there's some branding things, like how do you want to brand yourself? Like, also like questions of like, how much do you actually think it's going to cost you to run your business? Right? What business systems are you wanting to provide? Like, the expense part, right? Because we don't think about that if we are working in our standard salon, because we are just an employee. But there's a lot of expenses that we have to put up front first before we can get that money for it. And the beauty industry is expensive, people. Not only for consumers, but actually for the independent stylists as well. it is very expensive. And even though, you know, it is a perk working from home that I don't have to pay for a rent. That is super great, but there is still a high expense that I have to pay each month and each day. Like, I know how to like break down my days and know actually my expenses throughout the day, and I need to achieve more from that. But what else is in the guidebook? You know, working out your, like, what hours. I have your purpose and your mission and your values. Also, like, your policies for your business and your boundaries. Because those are very important ones. Because, like, policies, they're super easy to implement in any type of business. But the hardest part about policies is actually enforcing them.
Yeah.
Is the hardest, because, like, is saying no and no to something. Like, if somebody last minute cancels on you, that kind of sucks for us, because you know what, then we're out of income.
Yep.
And we're out of paying our expenses as a hairstylist and a business owner. But implementing, you know, a cancellation fee. Like, if there's an absolute emergency, like, I will waive it. But sometimes, like, if they just can't make it, or, you know, it just, you have to have yourself values for yourself. Yep. And for your business as well, if you're wanting to sustain your business. So doing things like that. What other policies? You know, arriving late.
I just think this is amazing.
I'm like trying to visualize my
what
consultation form.
like.
What is in there?
Like, it just amazes me, because this is, again, you have no business background, and you have, like, mentioned everything that every startup business should know, like, not just the beauty industry. Like, this is a whole, right? There should be policies and systems in every business. There should be, you know, review of income statements or balance sheets, or
how to organize everything.
Your Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, right?
Yes, because sometimes, like, I am an organized chaos, right? Because it's like,
I doubt that. I really do doubt that.
So my husband is like, oh, thank goodness I have you, because we're, you know, cleaning and organizing our house and everything, and he's just like, what would I do? Things have a home. I'm like, yes, they do, right? So,
and that's what works for you, though, right? Like, that's having that all in place, and I think it's super important that you talk about these expectations that you set with your clients, so that they know going in. It's that boundary piece. Yeah.
And I like to say the policies and then the boundaries actually within my consultation, and verbally say it, and not just put it on my website or put it on my social media, is to have that one-on conversation, so then they can understand. Sometimes, you know, still things get lost. It happens, right? But I do it to protect my business and for myself, and also to protect my guests. Right?
You're doing it right.
I'm doing the best that I can. The seriously best I can, that's for sure.
So we are live here on Jess FM. I'm Chelsea Wall. I'm the host of The Question Is Why, and our special guest tonight is Jamie from Seriously. She seriously is awesome. I always tease you with that. I know, right? So Jamie runs a successful home-based business and is very passionate about teaching other people how to be successful in running a home-based business in the beauty industry. Although everything you say right now can apply to any business, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Anybody wanting to be a solopreneur or trying to do a startup. And so, I want to talk a little bit more about, I don't know, maybe you're not comfortable talking about this, but where you see this going. Because I know there's big things for you, and you can feel it, and I can feel it just sitting next to you and having these conversations. But
the thing is, like, being a creative, I have so many ideas, and but sometimes it's like trying to validate which idea is going to be the best idea. So I had an idea to make my own podcast. So that's kind of like in the works, and you know, things take time. And what else? I've been working actually on an ebook to help, you know, home salons, but there's a lot of pages. Like, there's like 36 pages that I've been working on. I'm like, who is going to print off 36 pages? So I think it would be cool to have, you know, a digital course out there, and being able to mentor more people who want to take this journey. And you know what is, I also want to be inspired by other people who want to take this journey, because you know what, I want to lead leaders, because they're going to inspire me so much more. Like, when I was an educator for Matrix, that's where I grew to love of that education and sharing, because like, when I was in a class in front of people, I actually learned so much from them, right? Because everyone's vision and creative mind is different. And that's the thing is with everyone's trying to be so precise and on a technique.
Yep.
But the thing is, everyone's mindset and creativity is different. There's no wrong way as being an artist, right? It's kind of like create what you want to create.
Yeah, what you're feeling.
Right?
And that's funny because one of the things that I reached out to you early on was like, hey dude, you're amazing on Instagram. And like, I was just so fascinated by how you put yourself out there, because again, that stigma, like I just didn't, like I would, at first, I don't want you to take this wrong, but like,
no,
at first I was like, well, she's just a stylist, like why is she talking about all these things, which I totally love.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't connecting with you because I was like, oh, you should do my hair. I was connecting with you because I'm like, wow, she's like cool, right? But at first I was just like, why are you telling this story? Like I don't get it. And then as I'm taking this journey myself and starting to learn about, you know, the value of you know, branding yourself and building trust yourself, I started to get it. And then I had said to you, like, you're gonna have to teach me, because like I just don't naturally come across this courage that you have and stuff. And so we sat down and you were so willing to just give me all your knowledge. And I was like, people don't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, no, I'm always trying to find people that have that similar like drive as well. Yeah. And sometimes like it doesn't always have to be a currency behind it, right?
Like we're not in the same industry at all.
No.
Like, you aren't helping me grow this type of business, but
I don't know, but it's fun to do those things. Yeah. And I find sometimes like with any other business is I have a lot of creative thoughts and or ideas for other people's business. I'm like, ooh, that would be cool if you implemented
this. That's totally what you were doing. I loved it. I was like,
awesome. Like that's
let's try this. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, you're like, here, turn this way, do this, turn this, take it. Oh, look at what I can do on my phone. And I'm like, in the matter of like 4 seconds, you had this huge creative campaign for me, and I'm like. And then I try to implement it myself, and I'm like, Jamie, like we gotta do this. You're gonna have to reteach me, because like
absolutely, you know, I think it'd be so cool to have like a tribe of people in different small businesses. And you know what? Just take pictures, even with our cell phones, and just collaborate together, and then like batch our content. Because that's the thing is about social media. Like I'm not super consistent with it because sometimes it's time consuming. Because like I'm a mom first. And you know what? You can get lost in the Instagram or Facebook world, but it's so important for your business to try to promote yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that actually really helped me with my business is when I first moved into my home is I wasn't scared to take the leap to showcase that I worked from home, right? That I wanted to showcase that what I did, what my craft was, like showing that, you know, that beautiful hair is healthy hair and everything. So
that location doesn't make a difference.
No, I was just saying, like, no matter the location, what matters most is your passion, your purpose.
Yeah, totally.
And your passion, your purpose, and there was something. Oh, and professionalism.
Professionalism. Sorry, I interrupted. I'm trying really hard not to.
I was trying to be really cool with my quote right there, and it didn't work.
I'm like trying. I'm really working hard at not interrupting, and I know you well enough, and you keep looking at me, and I'm like, no, I'm not like super focused on anything. I'm trying not to jump in and like, but Jamie, but what about this? So yeah, she's like keeps looking over at me like, why are you staring at me funny? It's because I'm like really giving you a chance to talk without me jumping in and like sabotaging the conversation.
I do that too because sometimes I get that verbal diarrhea that I get so excited for other people and I just want to like spew out my thought at that instant. But sometimes too, like we have to sometimes listen to learn too, right? Like because we have those thoughts like very instant these days, and we just want to get it out and get that thought process.
And when you don't want to miss something. You don't want to miss that opportunity to be like, but tell us more about this. So I am doing a really good job tonight of not jumping in and pounding you all the time with stuff like that. So. Yeah, so I don't know what other things can you tell us that are exciting and happening for you? Oh no, are we allowed to talk about this?
Oh, I don't know. Say, I'm pretty open.
Are we allowed to talk about you building a home?
Oh, and
and, you know, customizing.
Yes,
this
she recently
salon.
is moving.
Yeah.
So we recently just put our house up, and with my home right now is quite boutique. See, there goes with my language again. Very petite. And I love small homes because it's easy to clean. I quite like that. But for our family dynamics, I would really love to still have something within my home, but a little bit more separate. And so I am building a studio in a garage, and I am very excited for this because it's going to create a little bit more of a Zen atmosphere for my guests, and also still a little bit of privacy for my family as well. Because like when you work from home, you have to teach yourself, you know, the discipline of not always being at home, because sometimes you go a little stir crazy. So it is, you know, taking that time to step out of your house still, because like I find it so important, and that's what I needed to do for myself. But yeah, I'm super excited for this journey and see how it goes.
So can you tell us, we're going to get off topic again.
Oh, that's
just 'cause
fine. I
something
like it.
pitched in there, but you had said there like that you need to get out of the home and stuff, and I know you have some girlfriends in the industry that you're very close with, that you, and some that aren't in the industry that are just new friends.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, so what kind of things do you do? I know we've been out a few times, but like what other things do you do to get some Jamie time, to get some me time, and even
time and stuff?
like even away from the family and, you know, the job aside, what do you do for self-care?
For self-care, well, I love to hang out with my girlfriends, with my tribe. We're actually all going to Golden this weekend, and I'm super excited. We went last year, so we actually taken a lot of girl trips. We've gone to Vegas. We took a mom van. Like, it's
a mom van?
Yeah, to Vegas.
Really?
Oh yeah,
rented a van?
Oh well, just one of our friends' vans, and we just all went down and drove down. Yeah, it's pretty epic, and so
that's awesome.
Yeah, so we were just a really awesome, close knit tribe, and so we're doing the Golden Girls. That's
so is this since being home based, or has this always been a value of yours to make sure that you have?
But you know what? I never actually got a good group of girlfriends until I had Riker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like what I learned, you know, in this trying to find friends, like I did a lot of sports, right? And I loved hanging out with guys because, you know, I could jive with the guys and have like that sense of humor. I got that from my dad. And, you know, when I first started in the industry, you know, becoming friends with my clients, and I soon learned that I got taken advantage of in there. So, you know, moving to Lethbridge after, and then because I went through that journey and learned from it, so then I was able to, you know, still be reserved and still be friendly. But it wasn't until, you know, I was pregnant until we met friends.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did it start with a mom's group then? Like, was it a...
Yeah, it was a prenatal group, and then it just kind of blossomed and stuff from there, so it's pretty cool.
And that's where now the girls that you go in the group with are from that prenatal, or is that just...
It's just how it just branched off and
then you just expand. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, and they all grew up together. Like, they all went to high school, so they had just adopted me in. So, thank you guys. Thank you. And
awesome.
yeah, so it's pretty cool because we're from northern BC originally, so all our immediate family is back in BC.
How long have you been in Lethbridge again?
About 11 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been in Lethbridge. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So can you let's tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah.
So, or how they can reach you if they want. Maybe they want a copy of this guide, which I mean, I think even if you're not in the industry, I think this guide would be super valuable. In fact, I'm gonna probably get a copy of it myself because I'm
even
really
if
curious.
you're just a separate like home-based business, it doesn't have
yeah.
to be a salon, right?
Yeah.
But you can find Shearsley on Instagram, so it is @_Shearsley. You can find my Shearsley Facebook page, and also I have a website, shearsley.ca as well, and my guidebook is under my website, under the Level Up kind of little dash bar, and also like on Instagram, the little link in your bio, it is in there as well that you can find it.
And it's seriously like the shears that you cut. So
yes.
when you're looking for it, it's SHEAR.
Yes.
That took me a little while. I'm not that pretty. I was like, why is this not a word? Why is this not coming out anywhere? What's going on?
But yeah, like it's trying to find a business name, like that. Those are the fun things when you first start out a business. Is like
tell us about that, because we did talk about this before.
Yeah.
Tell us what the inspiration was behind this, because this is a cool story. I remember.
I'm like, was it a cool story?
I thought so. I mean,
but yeah, it was a salon that I grew up with was called Sheer Delight, and I knew I wanted to implement something of a tool in our industry, and it just took forever. And so I said, seriously, like, why is it taking so long? And then I was like, seriously. And I'm just like, ooh. So I had to Google it to see if there was a salon that was called Sheerious. And then I just, put the LY and voila. And I
Wow.
seriously work in my basement, and I just thought that was just quirky and funny and who I am
Yeah.
as a person. So
Well, you play on it so well, like following your feed and stuff. Just some of those puns and some of those ways you use your name.
I
It's
see
just
it so
brilliant.
seriously right now.
Yeah, right? Like, and then I keep picking it up. So now I feel you're gonna have to come up with one for A-list. Like,
Okay.
I don't know how do you do that, right? Like, that's funny too, because when I picked A-list assist, like A-L-I-S-T, at the time I was like, I only want to work with the A-list. Like, I was thinking celebrity status. I live in Lethbridge, like, but now I'm in the show, and I'm like, I quite literally am interviewing influencers. So I do work with the A-list every day, and I mean, I just changed what my opinion of the A-list was, right? So
I think it is so cool that you have created this show for small businesses. Like, I love tuning in because, like, people's stories are fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, like you love listening to people's stories, and also for myself too. Like the people, like that is what drew me to this career as well, because every story is different, but yet still connected, all the same, right? Because everybody struggles, everybody has challenges, and everybody has triumphs as well. So it's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For me, it had a lot to do with, I was struggling to find a mentor, first of all, to try to the thing is, you can take to Google, and you can Google things, but you don't know that person.
Yes.
Like, you're connecting with people on Google that you've never seen, and for me, I was just like, I need to hear these things in the raw. I need to hear people tell their stories so that I can relate. And so that's how this all came to be, and then the more people I meet, the more I'm like, oh, what do you mean? You're so perfect. How do you have this story? What do you mean you have no struggles? What do you have this story, right? So starting to realize
my
that,
fair share of struggles.
right? Like,
All
and
struggles.
it just
That's
doesn't, people aren't showing that, and I think people
being
need to see
vulnerable.
that you can't achieve what you have without having these struggles. I mean, we didn't even really touch on any of your challenges. So
Right?
I know
Well,
you
the
have
thing
had
is,
some.
like, in the marketing, like the social marketing for hairstylists, like, a lot of times it's people are showcasing their highlights.
Yeah.
Right? The highlight reel of, like, oh, like, gorgeous hair and stuff. But, like, sometimes, like, I will post things that I'm like, ooh, I put the wrong formula on the regrowth, right? But I will film it because I have no shame about it, because I'm only human and it happens, right? And I just want to make other people, like, I've been 13 years in the industry, and the thing is, like, when I became an educator, I thought, these platform artists, like, they have their stuff, like, precise, and they got it all together. And that's not actually real, right? Like, they had challenges as well in there, so it actually put a lot of weight off my shoulder that I didn't have to, not only, like, you always want to try. Trying is the best asset that you can have, but, like, I didn't have to have that comparison or, like, that so much pressure on myself to be perfect, because perfect is unattainable.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
It does not exist at all. And that's the thing, is, like, what sometimes I have a hard time is being a hairstylist is because people are wanting to look perfect and be perfect, and I'm always trying to show people, their true self. Like, if they didn't have the right mindset, they're not going to have that confidence on the outside. And nothing is going to be ideal, their hair, their nails, or anything. So all stems from your mindset first. So that's kind of like where we start first in our consultations and stuff. Yeah.
And like you say, when we talk a little bit about that not being perfect, I think that's exactly what it is that I kept thinking, like, these people look so successful, but there's struggle, there's challenges, there's obstacles to overcome, and showcasing that we're not perfect. Like, telling these stories is so valuable.
It's so valuable. Like, when I do my consultations, I tell my people, I'm like, throughout this journey, there's going to be mishaps, because hair changes, like, throughout your journey. Like, if
pregnancy, we talked about,
pregnancy, if you're on medication,
age as we
age as well, but our hormones, and a big thing is stress as well, right? Like, if you're going through your anxiety or you're overwhelmed, it comes through your hair, right? Like, you
what
will
does
have.
it do? What are some examples of
It's like hair loss. That's a big indicator and stuff. Because on average, we lose about 70 to 100 hairs a day. And sometimes if you're not washing your hair every day, it's going to seem a lot more. But when we're through those, like, high levels of stress and overwhelm, it comes through our hair, like, we just shed a lot more than usual.
Interesting. Yeah. And so I know I didn't really want to talk about this, but I'm going to ask you really quick anyways. But the seasons of hair.
Oh,
You're like,
of
I
course.
asked you, and you're like, hey, let's not talk so much about hair, but that's just fascinating to me because like right
Yes.
now my hair is like flat and insanely staticky, and we forget. Like we forget that when we leave summer with that humidity and that
and it's
sweat and
yes,
and
it's dry down here. It's so
Yeah.
dry down here. But yeah, seasons of hair. Like, are you saying more of
like when we go from winter to summer to spring to fall, like
fall and
the
stuff.
change in air, like it's just so funny. I notice more of those changes when I go from, you know,
being
being by the
find
water in
something-
the summer and then
Oh
there's
yes.
no
Because a lot of
humidity
times,
right
like
now.
a lot of people don't think like water actually can sometimes be damaging on the hair, right?
What?
Like, well, you think about like when our water system is getting cleaned out, there's a lot of minerals and stuff in the water, so that can actually build up in your hair. It can sometimes dry out your hair and stuff as well if you do too much of it. There's a environmental, there's a lot of environmental risks with hair. Like there's sun damage that you don't think about, and we live in a windy city, guys, so all that friction, it happens,
I never thought of that either.
right?
Maybe that's the problem.
But there's a lot of mechanical as well. But like, you know, sometimes we have those windy cities. What are we doing with our hair? We are putting our hair back because we want our lip gloss on, because sometimes it sucks when the hair sticks on your lip.
Yeah.
So you throw your hair up, but like when you're always throwing your hair up and stuff, sometimes like that can stretch out the hair and stuff, because like
and the elastic breaks it. In fact,
breaks
I always
it
wear my
so-
hair in the same, and then it's like I have a circle of
for
like,
for yourself, like majority when you put your hair up, do you put your hair up when your hair is completely dry, or do you ever put your hair up when it's wet?
It's damp.
It's damp. So
Also
the
it's
thing
damp.
is, like, sometimes that can actually be very damaging, because when our hair is wet, it's actually stretchable, right?
What?
And yes, it is very stretchable. So when you are tightening it up in there, when it's drying, like, because it will stretch, when it dries, it will stretch there. So then it's more susceptible to break.
Oh, and can it thin? Can it make it thinner? Like, is that?
Like, not the strand itself,
Okay.
but like, you know, it can make it your whole abundance of your hair feel thinner.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yes,
I would
I
not
felt
have known
that.
that. I'm sorry. I know we weren't gonna like
Oh,
really
no,
get into the.
I'm a hairstylist.
Yeah, I know,
Absolutely.
and it's like so interesting. So I want you to just wrap up tonight.
Yeah.
Again, it's not like I want to get into this whole hair thing, but we had talked just before the show started. You had given this like really amazing tip for dry shampoo. So I just want you to wrap up tonight with this really cool tip that you gave me about dry shampoo, because it was amazing.
If you live the dry shampoo life, because sometimes it's not fun to wash your hair all the time, especially if you live the fun fashion hue life, because every time you wash it, your color evolves faster. But yeah, if you want to do dry shampoo, a lot of people think putting dry shampoo in your hair is when your hair is oily. When you're at that third day or second day, if you have really oily hair, then that's when you layer up the dry shampoo. Is actually put the dry shampoo when you have fresh, clean, and dry hair, because it creates actually a barrier before that oil comes. And other ways, like, you know, apply dry shampoo before you go work out. Because you know what, when we sweat, and if you don't have time to, you know, shower or wash your hair after, at least your hair will dry and it'll be a little bit more on the matter side than the oily side. Other tips for dry shampoos as well. If you like to wear hats, it's coming into winter, guys. So sometimes we wear hats because, you know, it's that, you know, fourth day oil in our hair and we don't want to wash it, or just don't have time to wash it. Then you put a hat on, but sometimes that oil will transfer, not sometimes, majority, that oil will transfer onto your hat. So tips you can do is actually just spray some dry shampoo in your hat. So do that in your toques, all you Canadian people.
Yeah. This is awesome. Like, I just didn't know. I didn't know there was so much stuff to know about hair. Like, just fascinating. I
And the
just
thing
learned
is,
so much from you.
And I'm still learning. I'm a forever work in progress of doing hair. It's a never-ending journey, because, you know, techniques always change, technology always changes, and not one person can know everything about hair, because every hair person is different.
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
I like to, like, you know, tell people, like, mishaps are going to happen, like that I'm doing hair, like, even though I've been in it for 13 years, you know, it may happen, but, you know, I like to be open and honest and transparent to my guests. Okay, you know, it didn't lift. Sometimes, like, lighteners don't lift if you're pregnant as fast or predictable, but I don't guarantee my lightening processes anyways. I just say, we'll just see. All I can guarantee is your hair is still going to be on your head.
That's awesome that you can guarantee that.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's doing, strand tests and patch tests before as well, because like I said, you don't know the history that's on the hair, so doing a little piece first before you start a hair journey is so crucial. Yeah. And then they can see, and then for consumers, they can see what their hair is doing first. So,
And learn all those things.
yeah.
That's awesome. Jamie, thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show
you
tonight.
so much. It's been such an amazing journey. So
Love
thank
you.
you and your business, and thanks to Jess FM. This is a pretty cool setup.
If it weren't for Jess FM, we wouldn't be here sharing all of this. So if you want to find Jamie, again, it's Sheriously. She's on Insta, Facebook. She's got a website. If you can't find any of those, just drop a comment in this video or reach out to A-List Assist. Whatever way you need to do to get in touch with Jamie, please do. And I'm just going to wrap up by introducing next week's guest. So next week, we're going to have Brandy Sharma. Brandy is a yoga practitioner with the Sharma Shala and is passionate about educating and teaching the value of yoga. Brandy is also an advocate for mind, body, and spirit, so we will talk with Brandy about how adding these practices add value to our lives. So next week, 8 p.m. Wednesday here on Jess FM. If you don't have the app, download it, because you can listen to it live anywhere. You can watch the replay. I watch myself sometimes. And it's like, watch the replay. When you're on TV, don't ever rewatch the replay. You're your worst critic, right?
So true.
Yeah, but catch us next week, 8 p.m. live, Jess FM. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Kelsey. Peace out, guys.
Yeah, so I was like, so, bye.